उत्तराखंड में चारधाम की कपाट खुल गए, लेकिन कोरोना महामारी के चलते विगत सालों की तरह भीड़ नहीं है। अब कोरोना पर धीरे धीरे आस्था भारी पड़ती नजर आ रही है और श्रद्धालु दर्शन करने के लिए ई पास बनवाने लगे हैं। थर्मल स्क्रीनिंग, सैनिटाइजेशन के पश्चात ही मंदिरों में तीर्थ यात्रियों को प्रवेश दिया जा रहा है। मास्क पहनना अनिवार्य किया गया है। सावन माह शुरू होते ही श्री केदारनाथ एवं श्री गंगोत्री के लिए ई पास की संख्या में वृद्धि हो रही है और अभी तक लगभग 14,731 ई पास जारी किए जा चुके हैं। उम्मीद की जानी चाहिए कि आने वाले दिनों में श्रद्धालुओं की संख्या में दिन प्रतिदिन और इजाफा होगा और एक बार फिर पहले जैसी रौनक लौट आएगी। उर्मिलेश भट्ट की रिपोर्ट, डीडी न्यूज।
अगले साल होने वाले टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स के स्थान तय हो गए हैं और प्रतिस्पर्धाओं का कार्यक्रम वही रहेगा जो इस साल रहने वाला था। खेलगांव और मुख्य मीडिया सेंटर भी तैयार किए जा रहे हैं। टोक्यो आयोजन समिति के अध्यक्ष योशिरो मोरी और सीईओ तोशिरो मुतो ने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ओलंपिक समिति के सदस्यों को शुक्रवार को एक संदेश में ये जानकारी दी। उन्होंने एक ऑनलाइन सत्र में जापान से आईओसी सदस्यों से बात की। उद्घाटन समारोह 23 जुलाई 2021 को होगा, जबकि महिला सॉफ्टबॉल और फुटबॉल की स्पर्धाएं 21 जुलाई से होंगी। पुरुष फुटबॉल 22 जुलाई और तीरंदाजी तथा नौकायन 23 जुलाई से शुरू हो जाएंगे। पहली पदक प्रतिस्पर्धा 24 जुलाई को महिलाओं की 10 मीटर एयर राइफल से होगी। इंडियन प्रीमियर लीग की शुरुआती 8 टीमों में से एक डेक्कन चार्जर्स को हटाना बीसीसीआई को बहुत भारी पड़ गया है। इस केस में कोर्ट ने एक आर्बिट्रेटर नियुक्त किया था जिसने बीसीसीआई के खिलाफ अपना फैसला दिया है। आर्बिट्रेटर ने बीसीसीआई पर 4,800 करोड़ रुपए का जुर्माना लगाया है। डेक्कन चार्जर्स का मालिकाना हक पहले डेक्कन क्रॉनिकल्स होल्डिंग्स के पास था। ये मामला 2012 का है। तब हैदराबाद के एक मीडिया ग्रुप ने आईपीएल टीम से डेक्कन चार्जर्स को हटाने पर आईपीएल के फैसले को चुनौती दी थी। बोर्ड ने 15 सितंबर 2012 को लीग के गवर्निंग काउंसिल की आपातकालीन बैठक बुलाकर डेक्कन चार्जर्स को आईपीएल से निकाल दिया था। डेक्कन क्रॉनिकल होल्डिंग्स इस फैसले के खिलाफ बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट गई। हाई कोर्ट ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट के एक रिटायर्ड जज को 8 साल पहले आर्बिट्रार नियुक्त किया था। इस टीम ने दूसरे सीजन में आईपीएल खिताब भी अपने नाम किया था। और इस बुलेटिन में फिलहाल इतना ही। दीजिए इजाजत। नमस्कार।
Hey Akshay, has everyone understood? Good, very good. Let's do it again. When an earthquake strikes, go to an open place. If you cannot, then first drop down.
Cover your head. Hold on to something tightly. Or go to a safe corner and cover your head. Learn to protect yourself during an earthquake. Your wisdom lies in your preparedness. Always ensuring your safety. NDMA.
नमस्ते इंडिया।
नमस्ते लैंड।
मरहबन इलल हिंद।
जरी इंडिया।
सलाम इंडिया।
नमस्ते इंडिया।
नमस्कार भारत।
मुई इंडिया।
नहनु हुनूर
इंडिया।
माँ हिंदी हस्ती।
मुंग हिंदियान।
सलाम हिंदुस्तान।
वी आर इंडिया।
As novel coronavirus spreads around the world, where does research on a vaccine stand? Can India, that produces 60% of the world's vaccines, with its production capabilities and distribution networks, unleash the full potential of its medical diplomacy. For an in-depth perspective on solutions to the global pandemic, watch BioQuest, Researching COVID-19 on DD India and DD News.
Good morning. You're watching News or Hearing Impaired. I'm Preeti. With me is Rajni. First, the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivers keynote address virtually at the high-level segment of United Nations Economic and Social Council, assures India's deep commitment to maintaining global harmony and preserving nature's balance. Reiterates India will play its role in full support of UN's agenda as a member of UNSC. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh holds security review meeting in Srinagar with Chief of Defence Staff, Army Chief, Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor and Jammu and Kashmir DGP. Raksha Mantri to visit Amarnath Cave Shrine today. Joint Admission Board of IITs decides to relax eligibility criteria for JEE Advanced 2020. All qualified candidates who have passed Class 12th examinations will now be eligible for admissions in IITs this year, irrespective of the marks obtained. Government launches mobile app for Prime Minister Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi to bring microcredit facility for street vendors at their doorstep. App to improve scheme implementation and promote paperless digital facilities. Flood and landslide situation remains grim in Assam, claiming over 100 lives. Heavy rains continue to lash Mumbai and coastal Maharashtra. Several low-lying areas waterlogged due to incessant rain. And COVID recovery rate rises to over 63% with over 6.35 lakh recoveries. Active cases stand at 3.4 lakh with over 25,000 fatalities. Several states including Goa and parts of Odisha imposed lockdown to curb the spread of virus. Uttarakhand also imposes lockdown on weekends. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for UN reforms, stressing that the time is ripe to assess United Nations' role and relevance in today's world and to shape a better future for it. He was delivering a virtual keynote address at this year's high-level segment of the UN Economic and Social Council session of the United Nations. The Prime Minister assured that with its deep commitment to maintaining global harmony and to preserve the nature's balance, India will play its role in full support of the UN's agenda as a member of UNSC.
India firmly believes that the path to achieve sustainable peace and prosperity is through multilateralism. As children of planet Earth, we must join hands to address our common challenges and achieve our common goals. However, multilateralism needs to represent the reality of the contemporary world. Only reform multilateralism with a reform United Nations as its center can meet the aspirations of humanity.
Set against the changing international environment and COVID-19 pandemic, Prime Minister said that as the furies of the World War II eventually lead to emergence of United Nations, The battle against COVID-19 provides an opportunity for reforms and rebirth of the world body.
While celebrating 75th years of the United Nations, let us pledge to reform the global multilateral system, to enhance its relevance, to improve its effectiveness, and to make it the basis of a new type of human-centric globalization. The United Nations was originally born for the furies of the Second World War. Today, the fury of pandemic provides the context for its rebirth and reform. Let us not lose this chance.
Talking about India's association with the United Nations, Prime Minister reminded that from the very beginning, India has supported UN development works and ECOSOC. Prime Minister also laid emphasis on the fight against COVID-19. He added that though it has tested resilience of all the nations, in India it has been made into a people's movement, with government pledging $300 billion to revive the economy.
The COVID-19 pandemic has severely tested the resilience of all nations. In India, we have tried to make the fight against the pandemic a people's movement by combining the efforts of government and civil society. We have given the highest priority to reach benefits to poor households. We have announced a package of more than $300 billion. It will bring the economy back on track, build modern infrastructure, and put in place a technology-driven system. We have put forward a vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant and resilient India, integrated with the global economy.
Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh on Friday chaired a high-level security review meeting in Srinagar. Raksha Mantri, who is on a two-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir and Leh, was briefed in detail about the situation at the line of control in the hinterland and also successful counter-terrorist operations. Raksha Mantri said that the country was proud of the valor and patriotic spirit of the soldiers. He urged all to continue to work hard to ensure security both on the line of control and in the hinterland. Rajnath Singh also impressed upon the commanders to maintain strict vigil along the line of control and remain prepared to give a befitting reply to any misadventure by the adversary. The Raksha Mantri complimented everyone for great synergy and close coordination amongst the security forces and government agencies towards bringing back normalcy in the region and lauded their work in ensuring peace and security in Jammu and Kashmir. The meeting was attended by Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor, Chief of Defence Staff, COAS and GOC in Command, Northern Command, Chief Secretary, DGP, JKP and officials from the security forces, civil administration and intelligence agencies. Raksha Mantri will today visit Amarnath Cave Shrine. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar let loose a barrage of retorts on social media, striking back at Rahul Gandhi for criticizing the central government's foreign policy. Dr. Jaishankar said, and I quote him, "Rahul Gandhi has questions on foreign policy. Here are some answers. Our major partnerships are stronger and international standing higher. Witness regular summits and informal meetings with US, Russia, Europe and Japan. India engages China on more equal terms politically," asked the analysts. The External Affairs Minister further said, "We speak our mind more openly now on CPEC and on BRI, on South China Sea, on UN sanctioned terrorists, etc., asked the media." He also said the address and the way we address the border infrastructure imbalance legacy, compared 2014-20 with 2008-14, budget up by 280%, road building by 32%, bridges by 99% and tunnels by 6 times, ask our jawans. And some facts on our neighborhood. The Hambantota port agreement between Sri Lanka and China was concluded in 2008. Ask those who dealt with it. Afghanistan sees completed projects, Salma Dam, Parliament, expanded training and serious connectivity, asked the Afghan Street. And Pakistan that you skipped surely notes the difference between Balakot and Uri on one hand and Sharm el Sheikh, Havana and 2611 on the other. Ask yourself. HRD Ministry has announced that the Indian Institutes of Technology will do away with admission criteria of minimum 75% marks in class 12th this year. Candidates clearing JEE Advanced will be eligible for admission to IITs irrespective of class 12 marks. Union HRD Minister Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank in a tweet said, and I quote him, "Due to partial cancellation of class 12 examinations by several boards, Joint Admission Board has decided to relax the eligibility criteria of JEE Advanced 2020 qualified candidates this time. Qualified candidates who have passed class 12 examinations will now be eligible for admissions irrespective of the marks obtained." Enthusiastic response has led the central government to extend the last date of submission of entries for Atmanirbhar App Innovation Challenge to 26th of July. The challenge was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 4th of this month, and the previous last date for submission of the entries was 18th of July. That is today, Saturday. The challenge is hosted on Innovate portal of MyGov, and to participate, one can log in to innovate.mygov.in. The Electronics and IT Ministry has said that so far 2,353 entries have been received across the 8 identified categories, including 1,496 from individuals and 857 from organizations and companies. Amongst those received from individuals, around 788 applications are ready to use and the remaining 708 are under development. For the apps submitted by the organizations, 636 apps have already been deployed and the remaining 221 are under development. Around 100 of these apps have more than 1 lakh downloads. The applicants are from all over the country, including remote and small towns, indicating a wide pool of untapped talent in app development. And on a programming note, you can tune into DD News at 3:30 p.m. and DD India at 8 p.m. this evening to watch our new show, India Ideas, where you can find out all about Atmanirbhar Bharat App Innovation Challenge. Take a look. Durga Shankar Mishra, Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, launched the mobile application of PM Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, or the PM Swanidhi, in New Delhi on Friday. This app aims to provide user-friendly digital interface for lending institutions and their field functionaries for sourcing and processing loan applications of street vendors under the scheme. The launch event was held through a video conference in which, besides senior officials from the ministry, principal secretaries dealing with urban development department and other officials from the states and union territories participated. It is believed that launch of the app will give impetus to the implementation strategy of the scheme, besides promoting paperless digital accessing of microcredit facilities by the street vendors.
Here we had only this portal. We only had the web portal for administering the complete PM Swanidhi. Now we have this mobile app application, and that is going to make things much more simpler. just with a mobile phone, a smartphone, anybody can be admitted for the PM Swanidhi scheme.
And up next, news coming in from Rajasthan. Sachin Pilot and 18 other Congress dissident MLAs got a 4-day reprieve from any action by the Assembly Speaker on disqualification notices served on them after Rajasthan High Court extending its hearing on the issue to next week. The division bench of the court, hearing the dissident MLA's petition against the Speaker's notices, adjourned on Friday evening. It fixed the next hearing for 10 a.m. on Monday. The counsel for the Speaker assured the court that no order shall be passed on the notice till 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday. The court also asked Congress Chief Whip Mahesh Joshi to respond to the dissidents' petition by Saturday. Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan co-chaired the second India-US Strategic Energy Partnership ministerial meeting along with US Secretary of Energy on Friday. Both the sides agreed to build strategic petroleum reserve. India and the US signed an MOU for collaboration of strategic oil reserves, including India using American storages for storing its oil as the two nations look to deepen energy ties. Addressing the virtual meeting, Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan invited enhanced participation from American companies in the oil and gas sector.
It is indeed reassuring that despite the COVID-19 induced challenges, the industry leaders are quite optimistic about reinvigorating the energy linkages between the two countries. I am confident they will take advantage of the fast emerging opportunities in the energy sector between our two countries.
Up next, our weather news. Flood situation in Assam remains grim as over 3,000 villages in 28 districts are still submerged. Over 100 people have lost their lives due to floods and landslides, while around 36 lakh people have been affected across the state. Dhubri, Goalpara, Barpeta and Morigaon are the worst hit, with about 4 lakh affected in each district. More than 51,000 inmates are taking shelter at 304 relief camps across the state. About 1,28,000 hectares of cropland still remains inundated. The flood situation in Bihar remains grim, with rivers in the state overflowing. Floodwater has spread over various other parts of the state. Over 2,88,000 people living in 8 districts are badly affected due to floods. Now, according to a report submitted by the State Disaster Management, out of 8 districts, Darbhanga is the most affected, where 1,58,000 population of 30 Gram Panchayats located in 4 subdivisions are affected by the floods. 9,845 people have been evacuated from various flood-affected areas. More than 2,000 people are living in relief camps. The Met Department has predicted light to moderate rainfall in some parts of the state during the next 24 hours. The Indian Met Department has said that intensity of rainfall is likely to increase over the northern and northeastern parts of the country in the next 3 days. The IMD said that monsoon trough lies to the south of its normal position, and it is most likely to shift northwards gradually towards foothills of Himalayas from July 18th onwards. It said due to the favorable meteorological conditions, isolated heavy to very heavy rains are likely over northwest India from today onwards. Extremely heavy rainfall is also likely over sub-Himalayan West Bengal. Up next, an update on COVID-19 situation from across the country. A total of 6.35 lakh people have recovered from COVID-19. Now, according to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, a total of 6,35,756 people infected with coronavirus have recovered across the country so far. With this, the recovery rate reached to 63.33%. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 3,42,437. In Odisha, in the wake of rising COVID-19 cases, the state government has imposed complete lockdown in 4 districts from 9 p.m. on Friday to midnight of 31st July. The lockdown will be in force in Ganjam, Jajpur, Cuttack and Khordha districts and Rourkela Municipal Corporation in Sundargarh district. However, essential services will be permitted, while some offices of central and state governments would be allowed to function during the lockdown. After imposing a week-long lockdown in Bangalore and other districts in the area, Karnataka government has begun the task of giving a major role to the medical facilities, besides clearing all hurdles in the system which blocked the speedy recovery of COVID-19 patients. Medical Education Minister and COVID-19 in charge, Dr. K. Sudhakar, sprung into action and took surprise visit of the COVID-19 designated government hospitals in Bangalore city. He inspected the hospital facilities and reviewed the entire treatment procedure at the KC General Hospital, that is a government hospital. He checked the quality of PPE kits being used and also took to task the hospital administration for their negligence, which led to 35 staff members of the hospital testing positive. Dr. Sudhakar also interacted with COVID-19 patients at the hospital via video conference and gathered their feedback. Karnataka government is holding marathon meetings and reviewing the COVID-19 facilities since the lockdown was imposed from July 14th in the city. Government has ordered to clear all backlog in providing test reports to people whose tests have been done. Uttarakhand government has also imposed statewide lockdown on Saturday and Sunday amid rising number of COVID-19 cases. The announcement has come a day after 199 COVID-19 positive cases were reported across the state, taking the total number of COVID-19 cases to 3,982. Uttarakhand Chief Minister, however, said that the decision applied only to this week and fresh assessment of the conditions and the necessary containment measures will be made on a weekly basis. In major success of the army in Jammu and Kashmir, 3 unidentified terrorists have been killed in an ongoing encounter. The encounter broke out between security forces and terrorists in Amshipura area of Shopian. According to officials, a joint team of Kashmir Police, 62 Rashtra Rifles and CRPF launched a cordon and search operation in the wee hours after forces received specific inputs about the presence of few terrorists in the area. The search operation turned into an encounter after the hiding terrorists opened fire at the forces from the cow shed of the lone house in an orchard. The forces retaliated to the gunfire, thus ensuing a gun battle between the two sides. The operation is underway. It is a second encounter between security forces and terrorists in the last 24 hours in Kashmir. A global update on COVID-19 now. The COVID-19 pandemic has claimed the lives of over 6 lakh people worldwide, while more than 1.4 crore people have contacted the infection so far. US and Brazil remain worst affected countries in terms of COVID-19 infections and fatalities. The US has so far recorded over 36.41 lakh cases and over 1.39 lakh deaths, while Brazil has crossed the 20 lakh mark and recorded over 20.46 lakh infections and over 77,000 deaths. Looking at the death toll worldwide, US and Brazil are followed by the United Kingdom with over 45,300 fatalities, further followed by Mexico, Italy, France and Spain. The World Health Organization on Friday said that it is formulating a team of international experts to visit China for studying the origins of novel coronavirus. A 2-person WHO advanced team has been in China for a week, preparing for the visit of the larger team. Addressing the pace of COVID-19 in Brazil, Mike Ryan also said that COVID-19 infections no longer appear to be rising exponentially, but have reached a plateau, creating an opportunity to get the outbreak there under control. The virus is not doubling itself in the community as it was before, so the rise is not exponential. Meanwhile, leaders of the European Union left after midnight last night in Brussels without a consensus among the European Union leaders on a proposed €750 billion recovery fund to lift the bloc's economies from a recession triggered by COVID-19 pandemic. Negotiations are at an impasse because of differences over the conditions for access to the scheme. The 27 leaders' views on their stimulus plan were diametrically different. Though several northern states, including Netherlands, Austria, Denmark, Finland and Sweden, believe that Paris and Berlin are too ready to give out money to more affected states. The summit is expected to continue well into the weekend, while Dutch Prime Minister has rejected a compromise proposal put forward by the chairman of European Union leaders to overcome differences over a planned COVID-19 economic recovery fund for the bloc. Member states would put forward their national plans to get money from the new fund. A spokesman for President of the European Council, Charles Michel, said that discussions will resume today. Singapore Zoo unveiled a pair of twin red-ruffed lemurs after coronavirus restrictions muted the celebrations of their rare arrival. The yet-to-be-named twins, who were born on February 22, are the first births of the critically endangered species in the zoo since their 11-year-old father, Bosco, was born. The postponed Tokyo Olympics will be held at the same venues and under the same schedule as planned before. The Games were delayed due to the novel coronavirus pandemic. Tokyo Games Organizing Committee on Friday confirmed. The Olympic opening ceremony is scheduled to start on July 23rd next year, in keeping with a plan to officially begin the Games on 4th Friday of the month. Tokyo Olympics were originally slated to be held this year between July 24th and August 9th, before the outbreak of the novel coronavirus resulted in the unprecedented one-year postponement. Softball tournament will start 2 days before the opening ceremony, as also planned prior to the postponement in northeastern Fukushima Prefecture. Also, IOC and organizers have vowed that the Games will go ahead and have said that they cannot be postponed again. Both have said that if they cannot be held this time, they will be cancelled. That's it in this edition of the News this hour. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.
Munni, where are you?
They built their house with technical guidance. That's what saved them today. Otherwise, find out your earthquake zone and seek guidance from a structural engineer. You are safe if your house is safe. Always ensuring your safety. NDMA.
अरे बबलू, लॉकडाउन खुलते ही टहलने निकल पड़े। महामारी अभी फैली हुई है।
सरपंच जी टहलने नहीं, काम पे वापस जा रहे हैं।
तुझे डर नहीं लगता वायरस पकड़ लेगा?
पहले थोड़ा बहुत डर लगता था, फिर पता चला कि अगर मैंने पूरी सावधानी बरती तो ये बीमारी होने की संभावना कम है। सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है ये मास्क। काम पर मास्क हमेशा पहनूंगा, समय समय पर हाथ धोता रहूंगा और दूसरों से हर वक्त कम से कम 2 गज की दूरी बनाए रखूंगा। खुद को, दूसरों को और अपने परिवार वालों को भी सुरक्षित रखूंगा।
अरे भाई, मेरी जिम्मेदारी बनती है तुझे चेतावनी देना, सो दे दिया।
जब देश के मेडिकल और स्वच्छता कर्मचारी रोज कोरोना वायरस से लड़ने का काम कर रहे हैं, तो हमारी भी तो जिम्मेदारी बनती है अपना काम करने की।
बबलू, तुझे कुछ हो गया तो?
हजारों लोग इस बीमारी को हराकर ठीक हो चुके हैं, और अगर किसी कारण मुझे ये बीमारी हो भी जाए तो सरकार ने अस्पताल में हमारे इलाज के लिए पर्याप्त व्यवस्था कर रखी है। ये घबराने का वक्त नहीं, एक दूसरे का हौसला बढ़ाने का वक्त है।
अरे ऐसे क्या देख रहा है? तू काम पे जाएगा, मैं नहीं जाऊंगा, नाक नहीं कट जाएगी मेरी। चलो।
मास्क।
हाँ, मास्क।
अरे नाक तो ढक लो।
हाँ।
कोरोना वायरस से हमें लड़ाई जारी रखनी पड़ेगी, पर उससे डर कर नहीं, पूरी सावधानी के साथ डट कर चलिए। रुकी जिंदगी को आगे बढ़ाएं, देश को आत्मनिर्भर बनाएं। जय हिंद।
नमस्कार दोस्तों, आज मैं आपसे कुछ बात कहना चाहता हूँ। मैदान पर उतरने से पहले मैं हमेशा प्लेयर्स से कहता था कि हम सब पर करोड़ों लोगों की उम्मीदें टिकी हुई है, हमें डट कर खेलना चाहिए। आज कोरोना वायरस के संकट के समय जब हम सब घर पर सेफ हैं, हमारे लिए कुछ फरिश्ते मैदान पर उतरे हैं। डॉक्टर्स, नर्सेस, वार्ड बॉयज और सारा मेडिकल स्टाफ हमारा ख्याल रख रहे हैं। कुछ लोग हम तक जरूरी सामान टाइम पर पहुंचाने में लगे हुए हैं। पुलिस हमारी सुरक्षा कर रही है। ये सब लोग फरिश्ते हैं जो अपने बारे में ना सोचकर हमारे लिए काम कर रहे हैं और हमें सुरक्षित रख रहे हैं। इनके हौसले पर देश की उम्मीदें टिकी हुई है। तो जब भी आप ऐसे किसी उम्मीद के फरिश्ते से मिले तो उन्हें जरूर दिल से धन्यवाद कहिएगा। इससे